Hi friends, this is Ree with Angel Messenger, and I'm going to do another Tea with Ree video. It's my pretty mug today. I have, I think it's called Sweet Tangerine Tea by Yogi Teas. And I love their teas because they have these little positive messages on their tea tags. And mine today says, love is an experience of infinity. And it certainly can be. That's a very sweet tea. It's very hot still, so. But I wanted to, I'm wearing my Herkimer diamond bracelet again today. I talked to the manufacturer who, or the maker of the bracelets. I wanted to tell you that these little round seed beads are labradorite, so I like it even more because I didn't know that was the case, but they are going to replace the one that they missed because I was just going to have them refund me, but I actually love their store so much that I bought some more items today. So they have these beautiful stone-carved angel wing heart necklaces and earrings, and so I bought those and a few more other bracelets and items. So those will probably be here in a few weeks, so we'll see. But I wanted to show you another card deck. I have actually a lot of card decks. I didn't realize how many I had, but this one I probably haven't used in at least a year, so I thought I would grab it. It's a very pretty deck, The Goddess Oracle, by Amy Sophia Marashinsky, illustrated by Hariana Janto. I'm probably totally butchering that name. But I actually first saw this deck at a psychic fair in Howell, Michigan. Somebody had it out and they were just letting people draw a card and read from the book what a one card message. And I really liked the meaning that I got from the card. So the back of the card isn't really awesome. It's just black and white, but it kind of reminds me of Brigid, Keeper of the Flame. So I was really drawn to it because Brigid is one of my go-to friends. Let's see, how do we want to do this? So anyway, let's just kind of look at the cards. So we've got Baba Yaga, Wild Woman Energy, Kali. What does that say? Fear? Well, yeah, people do fear her, but she's kind of like, Kali is in this form. Kali is the goddess of death or change, and people can fear that. And then we have Tara, Green Tara, the goddess of centering, and well, more to that than that. But I'll just kind of show them to you. I don't really want to go through them all, but oh, and that's another one that's very mistaken. I could go on and on about that, but people misunderstand Lilith. Inanna, they have her with Sekhmet. Interesting. So yeah, this is a really, really pretty deck. Oh, there's Sekhmet by herself, Anger and Rage. I've actually, I've connected with her before, but ever since all of this stuff has been coming out about the Native American children that have been found buried in these unmarked graves, I don't know if it's just my connection to child abuse or I do have a Native American heritage, but that could be part of it, but I really think it's just my connection to child abuse has connected me to my own anger and rage, and I think that's what has drawn Sekhmet to me, and maybe that's why it has drawn her to me for that, but her energy has come forth to me dealing with some things lately, and she's a really powerful friend to have when dealing with things like that. And not really just to have like the kind of anger and rage where you just want to like raise everything to the ground and be done with it. It's more of like this isn't okay. You see her face? She's telling you it's not okay. And this is going to be the end of this crap. That kind of energy. So there are some really beautiful cards here. Lakshmi, Freya. Well, actually, I don't even know if you saw that. I probably did that right off camera. So there's Lakshmi and Freya. I don't know if I'm allowed to show that card on YouTube. Aphrodite, the goddess of love. So in choosing these cards, let's see, how do I want to, oh, Kuan Yin, the goddess of compassion. I've connected with her a great deal. She's one of my favorite goddesses. I've never heard of this one, Sedna. I don't think I've ever seen that card before. But I have definitely, the imagery in that card with the feeling like you're deep underwater, being the victim, I definitely can connect with that energy. This is really pretty, Isis, the mother. But I just kind of wanted to show you another deck and to show you, here's Brigid, the triple goddess. To show you that, you know, cards, again, are just a tool. And by, well, that one's weird. I probably won't show you that one in video. You know, that they're just a tool. And by using them, well, that one's really pretty. Sophia, wisdom. That one is like a celestial. 6 wings. That's cool. Esther, the goddess of spring. So anyway, maybe I'm just not supposed to reading. Maybe I'm not supposed to do a reading. We're just supposed to look at these really cool cards. But working with goddess energy has been really, really important in my life. And I've never heard of this one either, but, you know, rising out of the deep waters and toward the light is really important for illness and, well, for wellness. So that's a really important, that imagery in that card really connects to me deeply. Sorry, I'm in my own world over here. Working with goddess energy has been really, really beneficial in my life. And I guess I wanted to show these to you because maybe you will find this energy helpful in your life as well. That's pretty. I think more men need to connect with goddess energy too, and maybe that will, there's a lot of awakening going on in the world right now, but maybe men connecting with goddess energy will help the things that are going on right now too. There's certainly a lot of death and rebirth going on as well. Try not to show any naked parts on video just in case anybody has a problem with it. Okay, so these ones are really pretty. Got the owl. I love owls. So I'm actually just gonna lay down 3 cards, and I have a little tiny gold key, and I have my Opalite ring, and I have a feather, which is my other ring here. And so we will we'll lay those on top of the cards, and you can pick which goddess or which item you feel most connected to, or which card you feel most connected to, and maybe those items will help you to pick which card you feel most connected to. This one definitely wants to be down here. Okay, so this one. And even now, even before I move the camera down to show you, maybe even get a feel for what middle, right, left, whatever position you may be feeling connected to. Okay, so let's just kind of see where this goes. Yeah, I'm going to move the camera down. Oh no, what am I doing here? Okay, so, well, that's just looks crooked, but it's not. I don't know. All right, let's start with the Opalite ring. Okay, so this is the Irenaeus crisis. Oh, somebody is in crisis. Okay, so that's the opalite, and then we've got a key. Oya Change. And then we've got Minerva, beliefs. Well, I hope we don't have anybody going through a crisis to come. Maybe it's talking about the crisis current. So let's see if I can find that one. Okay, I think it just goes by. Crisis. We snap you, crack you, flapjack you. We are that wild, chaotic place, that sharp edge, the point that activates your fears, the point of no return, the point where anything can happen. We always demand your death or complete surrender. You can't get beyond us, around us, or over us. You must meet us and go through us. We are the cosmic steamroller, the place of greatest opportunity. We are crisis. And so let me say what that means. There are many ways to experience death in this life. Physical death is like the least of it. It's not even talking about physical death, because they're saying they're going to offer opportunity. So it comes to a place of crisis where you have to make a choice, and you can't choose anything else with the choice you're made to have. So for me, like I guess you could say I've died many times in this life, and one of the times was choosing to start my business because I couldn't work outside the home because of my illness. And for anybody out there who has fibromyalgia or, well, any sort of chronic illness, trying to get benefits, what's it called? I was just talking to a friend about this because her husband is ill, and disability benefits. Trying to get disability benefits for people who have fibromyalgia or just pain that can't be explained, that makes it so you can't work outside the home. That's just a nightmare. It's impossible. So it took me to a crisis point to force me to create my business and put me in a position where, even though I was afraid to say, guess what, I'm psychic, or guess what, I'm a gypsy and I'm going to offer blessings now, it wasn't just that I probably would never have done it if, I had a wealthy husband who didn't need me to work. I might have just worked, created my own nonprofit to save animals or something. But it was the crisis point who put me in that spot. So the earrings, pronounced Irenaeus, okay, Irenaeus is how it's said. The Irenaeus were the force of retribution personified as three immortal dark maiden goddesses. They took revenge and punished anyone who killed their kin and in matriarchal pre-Hellenic Greece. From a play, it's back from a play. Okay, so the meaning of the card, um, they come after you or a loved one if you're in crisis to nurture your wholeness for you now to reach out you and to ask for your help, whether it's from the human, the animal, or the spiritual kingdom. Help is required at this juncture of excess, psyche breaking, stress, and instability. Identify and name the kind of crisis you are in. If your crisis is psychological, call a crisis hotline or make an appointment with a healer. If your crisis is financial or job related, seek financial assistance. If it involves your health, visit a care practitioner. Basically, they're saying if you are in a crisis point, reach out for help if you need it. It's okay to accelerate growth and transformation. It's going to bring your happiness and opportunities to you. Oh, and this book even has like ritual suggestions in it. So, these beings, they were created in taking revenge against people, it sounds like, but they are there to help you to become the best version of yourself and to aid you in your wholesomeness. So for me, I've kind of been at a crisis point for a long time. For those of you who don't know, I've been struggling with a chronic illness that is sort of partially called fibromyalgia, but it has some other things that go along with that. And part of it, the pain would get so bad at night that I would have to sleep with an ice pack on my feet because they were so hot and so painful. But at the same time, the weight of the ice pack hurt so badly that it was just the weight was too much. But I'm finally in a position where that only happens if I take my medicine too late in the evening. So now it's better. So that part of things has gotten better. I'm not quite in that crisis point anymore. So from that perspective, I guess I'm in a place to kind of give you advice to say, a lot of times people kind of rip on, especially in the spiritual community, people like to say, don't ever take medications. It's bad to take medications. And, I really hate to take medications myself. I don't like it. But I don't like being up all night, laying there trying not to disturb my husband because one of us needs sleep. One of us needs to function. I really don't like laying there all night in severe pain that is worse than you can imagine. So taking medication to stop that horrible, horrible pain, yeah, I'm taking that medication. And if somebody has something to say about it, they should just stop speaking. So anyway, don't be afraid to ask for help if you need it and to end whatever crisis is going on for you and to ask for help so that you can be in a better place. That's for those who chose the fire opal or I think it's just a regular opal. It's very pretty. Anyway, so if you chose the gold key, we've got Oya Change. So let's see what this is about. And again, I haven't used these cards in a very long time. I don't think I've ever seen this card. Oya. I work in ways deep, ever present, always moving. I work in ways dramatic, with thunder and lightning, sweeping, uprooting. I work in ways subtle, pushing and prodding, wearing and tearing. I swirl you and twirl you, I splatter you and scatter you. I shock you and rock you, I clear the way for what is to come. I can be slight or stupendous, brief or long-lasting, uproaring or uprising. What I can't be is ignored. So it's interesting because this little key is only here because it got somehow dropped on the floor when I was making my blessing bags the other day. This is one of the keys to change. So that's why I put it here. So this is basically saying that she's got thunder and lightning coming from her soul, and all the swirling and whirling and the stuff that's happening now, it's meant to be, and it's going to change, and there's nothing that can be done about it. And her name is pronounced Oya. So I guess for this change, we can hope for the best and say, oh yeah. The goddess of weather, especially tornadoes. Well, hopefully we don't have tornadoes, but destructive rainstorms, fire, female leadership's persuasion, charm, and transformation. Well, honestly, we've had some really bad storms come toward us, and I go out on the porch and tell the storm to calm down, and I don't know if it worked, but the storm did calm down. So this is one of the most powerful Brazilian macumba deities. When women find themselves in hard to solve conflicts, she's the one to call on for protection. Wearing wine, her favorite color, and exhibiting 9 whirlwinds, 9 being her sacred number. In numerology, 9 is also a number for humanity, for being like not just humanity as a race, but humanity as being giving and loving, like humanity as a tribute to your person. She's depicted with a turban twisted to appear like a buffalo horn, for it is said she assumed the shape of a buffalo when wedded to Ogun. It's interesting because I don't know why I feel like I need to say this, but that makes me feel like there's a connection with her to White Buffalo Calf Woman, who is also really strong with her humanity and compassion. I don't know why I feel like a connection there with her. So she's saying that when the storms of life come into your life, they tell you that change is calling, beckoning, and camping out on your doorstep. The way to wholeness for you lies in embracing this change. You've been too busy, too stressed to attend to the changes needed in your life, but it's time to nurture yourself and to accept these changes. And there's also a ritual suggestion in here. And I'm pretty sure I bought these on Amazon, so I will look for a link for you to access that, or you can look it up for yourself. But when you use our links, we get some sort of kickback that works on your whole purchase. So let's look up Minerva, and this is for the feather. And I like to wear the feather ring, and I usually wear it on my left hand because my left hand is my non-dominant hand, my receiving hand, and the feather is a message. Like a feather is a message from a loved one or message from the angels. So I wear it on my receiving hand as if I'm saying, excuse me, 1 second. I wear it on my left hand as if I'm saying I'm open to receiving messages. And actually, if I wouldn't have just had needed a drink of my tea, I might not have looked down and noticed again that this is a owl here. I'll move this over. I don't know if the edge of that is in the way. But so this has feathers in it, so it's kind of meant to be that that's in there. So let me look up Minerva here. Okay. Minerva is talking about our beliefs. I am what I think. My life is shaped and formed by what I tell myself. Who I am in the world is who I think I am. What I have in the world is what I think I can have. The contents of my mind are what I choose. I discard, cut out, drop. That which doesn't contribute. What others believe about me is their story. It tells more about what they think than who I am. It is my journey. In my journey, I make sure that what I carry is of my own careful choosing and serves me well. In mythology, Minerva was a Roman and Etruscan goddess of intelligence, creativity, wisdom, domestic skills, and handcrafts. She was the patroness of artisans. That's interesting. I'm also a patroness of artisans. Um, she has come to tell you it's time to examine your beliefs and change them if they do not nurture to your wholeness. If any are old, worn out, unhealthy thoughts undermining your life, your value, your energy, your happiness. Do you believe what other people think and or say about you? Are you still running the tape of negative messages your parents, caregivers gave you when you were a child? Do you believe the worst about yourself or the best? Are your beliefs too rigid, too permanent, or are too rigid to permit and support your evolution? We are all born with a story. It is our choice whether we want to live the story we are born with or to create one that nourishes all we want to be. Minerva says that wholeness is nurtured when you see yourself with all your parts, both dark and light, and choose your beliefs to serve your highest good. You know, that's interesting because this card has, it's kind of about it's very similar to my own journey. Because I really had a lot that I had to go through about what I believed about myself, and facing what others told me about myself. And I wrote a blog post about how, so you might have read this. Sorry, one second. I wrote a blog post about how I was told when I was 4 years old that my Native American ancestors would have drowned me because I had blonde hair. Because I was born with jet black hair, and then by the time I was 2, my hair was paper white. And so this family member thought that we had traveled to the eastern side of Michigan to a place where there were Native Americans, a tribe was at. And this person, they had a teenager hold me, a teenage Native American, and he was uncomfortable holding me. And his mother said, it's okay, just hold her. But they wanted me to take a picture with these 2 Native Americans, and so the teenage boy held me. And the family member thought that the reason the teenager felt uncomfortable holding me was because I was this devil child that had blonde hair. And so that's why they thought that's where they thought this came from, which is absolutely insane that's where they got this idea from. But it was because of her own ancestral fears and stories that gave her that idea, and then she put it on me. And so I had this fear for many, many years of Native American anything. And then I learned from my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, that we were Native American. So I started learning more information about it and found out that I would not have been drowned, that's just a lie, and who knows. Anyway, so I found a way to go back in time and heal that part of myself. And there were a lot of other things like that I had to go back and heal as well. But it's important that we heal from those things that people do to us, whether it's healing from abuse and learning how to be a good parent. And a lot of times when that's the case, we don't understand that we need to do that until we become a parent ourselves and realize that we don't know how to be parents. I knew that I didn't want to be like the ones who hurt me. But I had to learn how to be a good parent while I was trying to figure out how to heal myself. And then when I was 35, I met my father and his family for the first time, and I just I froze. Everything about me froze. My heart, my soul, everything froze. And I just became this shell of a person, and this little girl inside me, um, she finally showed herself, and she was so terrified of her father because of what they told her, what my family told her about herself. And you know, I'm better now, but it was really hard to heal her, and really hard to help her to know that she's safe. And it can be really difficult to change your beliefs when they've been so ingrained in you by people who you should have been able to trust, by people that should have loved you, and even by people that represented God. You know, my church did horrible things to me. And I've mentioned before that I had turned my back on God at one point, and I had good reason for that. And I've heard stories from other people of horrible things happening to them at their church, and then religions wonder why people don't want to go to church. I'm like, well, they don't find God there, so why do they need to go to your church? I guess because they need you to give them money. So anyway, I guess I'm a little cynical about that, but I don't think religion is doing its job anymore, and that makes me angry. Yeah, brings out Sekhmet in me. And you get her eyes looking back at you, telling you to do a better job. So anyway, before I start getting mad about that, so hopefully maybe some of these gave you a little bit of help, and or if anything, gives you some idea of that maybe goddess energy is something that you could use. And so I guess I could have moved this up and actually talked to you, but so this was the Goddess Oracle by Amy Sophia Marashinsky, illustrated by Harana Janto. Please forgive my lack of being able to speak, being able to speak clearly. You know, growing and being able to transform yourself to a higher version of you, it's not something that happens overnight. It's something that you need to be really patient with yourself, and you need to be honest with yourself of how you feel, and don't let anybody else make you feel like it's like you're less than because you can't just, you know, whip yourself out of it, you know, like it never happened or something. Pain isn't something that, I guess, you know, these people that that pretend like healing is just something you can do in a weekend, they really don't know, because, I mean, they might mean well, but they really don't know because they've never really been there. And that's good. I mean, I don't want them to be there. That would be mean. I don't want that for them. So anyway, I hope this was helpful to you. This was a longer video than I meant to be, but anyway, have a good evening. Blessed be.